Alright, hello everybody, Friendly Red here, and welcome to News Peruse. We had to wait a bit longer, but the June Nintendo Direct finally happened, bringing E3 season to a close. There's a decent amount to cover from the show, so let's get into it. Kicking things off, we had the announcement of a new Mario & Luigi game, titled Mario & Luigi Brothership. Mario RPG fans have been feasting as of late, between remakes of Mario RPG, The Thousand Year Door, and now this new game. The new Mario & Luigi game is very cool to see, and quite unexpected I'd say, given that the original developers sadly closed down back in 2019. It's been a very long time since I played one of these games, as I believe the last one I played was Bowser's Inside Story back on the Nintendo DS. Regardless of all that, I'm very happy to see a new entry here, looking absolutely gorgeous with the new HD visuals and cell shading, and the usual wacky team-up antics you'd find in previous Mario & Luigi games look to be fully intact here as well. This one is out on November 7th, and I look forward to returning to this series when it releases. Next up, we got the announcement that Fantasian Neo Dimension is coming to Nintendo Switch. This game was rumored to be coming to consoles and PC for a bit now, and I'm glad to see it happening. Being a brand new JRPG made by some of the veterans of the original Final Fantasy games, I've always been interested in playing it, but before now it was exclusive to Apple Arcade, which I'm not exactly too keen on using as a platform to play games on, especially something like a JRPG. Thankfully, that'll all change fairly soon, as this console conversion is set to release this holiday. After those two early announcements, we need to skip ahead a bit for the next, being the return of Donkey Kong Country again. Yes, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD was announced, being an HD remaster of the Wii original, while also including the new content that was made for the 3DS release of the game in the form of Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. I'll be honest though, this is a fairly mundane announcement. Like, DKC Returns is a quality game, and it's cool to see it get a truly definitive release like this on Switch, but I think a wholly new DK game, either in 2D or 3D, is well overdue at this point. It doesn't help either that this will be releasing on the same console as the follow-up, Tropical Freeze, which I personally think is a superior game to DKC Returns, and given that it will also be priced fully, I'd say it's better to just go for that over Returns HD here. Anyways, this HD remaster / definitive version of DKC Returns releases on January 16th of next year, so we've got a bit to go before we can go fully bananas in high definition. Right after DKC Returns, we finally got another trailer for the HD 2D remake of Dragon Quest III. It's been a bit over 3 years since this was announced. It's also great that we got to see a lot more of the game here than in that original trailer. I've yet to play the original Dragon Quest games, and I'm looking forward to doing so once 3 HD releases on November 14th of this year. Following that though, we also got an announcement that Dragon Quest 1 and 2 will also be getting the HD 2D treatment, meaning the entire original trilogy of Dragon Quest games, known as the Erdrick Trilogy, will be fully remade and playable on modern platforms, which is great to see. This was actually rumored to be happening recently, which could explain why it's been so long since we saw or heard anything about the game since the initial reveal. We'll have to wait until sometime next year for the 1 and 2 remakes, but hey, at least we'll have 3 to play while we do so, which they pointed out is the first chronologically in the trilogy, despite having a 3 in the name. Once again though, after the showcase on Dragon Quest, we'll need to skip ahead for the next talking point, which is one I found super cool, even if I don't know much about it. Capcom and Marvel are teaming up once again, this time to bring us a collection of their older Marvel vs. Capcom games, which include a re-release of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I've always been interested in trying out MVC 2, given its legendary roster and of course the memes I've seen or heard about the game. Super cool to see it getting officially re-released in this collection alongside some other high quality Marvel Capcom games from the past as well. No specific date for when this one will take us for a ride, but it will be sometime in 2024. Immediately following that, we had the announcement for the next Mario Party game, Super Mario Party Jamboree. First, I was kind of worried about this, as the original Super Mario Party on Switch wasn't really the greatest. It was for sure a step up from a lot of the Mario Party games that came directly before it, but it still wasn't quite at the level of something like Mario Party 8. Thankfully, despite sharing a name with Super Mario Party, that's where the sharing ends, as the developers seem to have really taken the criticisms and problems of their previous outings to heart, and we're finally getting a proper, fully fledged Mario Party on Switch with this new game. With 7 boards, 5 of them being wholly new, over 110 minigames, dozens of playable characters, and lots of side modes, this is looking to be the best Mario Party on Switch yet, and I'll be glad to test if that's the case or not once it releases on October 17th. And right after Mario Party, we got another exciting reveal, that being the next 2D Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Man, this one right here is going to be something special. So, not only is this the first wholly new 2D Zelda game in over a decade, it's also the first mainline entry where we finally get to have Zelda as the protagonist. Isn't that crazy? It took until 2024 for Zelda to be the main playable character in her own damn franchise. As they say, it's better late than never, and she's looking to bring her own flair and crazy playstyle to this one. The main highlight of this trailer was focused on how Zelda will play in this game, utilizing echo magic to create copies of items to use throughout the world. In addition, Zelda can also echo monsters she defeats, spawning them in to fight alongside her. It's a very simple yet versatile ability, and it's really neat to see some of that out-of-the-box, sandboxy freedom the player has in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to solve puzzles and traverse the world make its way into a 2D Zelda game. Plus, this new game uses the same art style as the Link's Awakening remake on Switch did, which I find to be incredibly charming, cute, and quite beautiful. Super duper excited for this one, and it's not going to be too much longer until it's in our hands, as it releases on September 26th. For our last few talking points, we have to jump over to the end of the Direct. Next up is another Capcom-centric announcement, and much like the MVC one, I found it cool, even if I don't know a ton about the series. Ace Attorney is also getting a collection of older games from the series bundled up for release on Switch, this time focusing on some spin-off games, including one that never released here in North America until now. Always love to see that for the fans and for the sake of preservation, and thankfully, they don't have to wait too much longer for this, as it's out on September 6th. After that, we got a new game revealed by the same team that brought us the Danganronpa series, this one called The 100 Line Last Defense Academy. I personally never experienced any of the Danganronpa games, or the other new game that was released from them last year, Master Detective Archive's Raincode, but I quite like the art style they have. And I also really admire the series creator Kazutaka Kodaka, as he's been on record stating that he makes games that he likes and wants to make, regardless of if they sell well or not. It's an admirable stance to hold in an industry that's sometimes perhaps a bit too focused on chasing trends or what will lead to the most profits. Anyways, I'm unsure as to if I'll give this game a look-see once it launches, and I have some more time to figure that out, as it won't be out until early next year. Oh man, this next one is going to feel good to discuss. So, after over 7 years since it was initially announced, and 5 years since it restarted development, at long last, got to see Metroid Prime 4, now officially called Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and damn, does it look clean. It's awesome to see the game in action, and to also finally get some payoff to the constant Silux teasing that was occurring ever since Prime 3's conclusion. This is one I've been waiting on for years now, and while it stings a bit that it won't be out until 2025, I'm glad it at least has some sort of release window now. And considering I've waited this long, well, another half a year or so won't hurt that much, I guess. Hopefully we'll get Prime 2 and 3 remasters sometime soon to help us in the wait for Beyond. And that was the June Direct. Even disregarding the stuff I wanted to talk about, there was a lot shown. Though for me personally, not a lot of it was all too interesting. I'm mainly here for the Nintendo games, and on that front, I think they mostly delivered. For a platform that's soon to be succeeded, there's still a lot of quality support and games coming from Nintendo. And of course, even once the Switch successor is out, we can expect that to continue for probably another year or two, given their history with supporting their successful platforms even after a new one launches. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if something like Prime 4 or the next Pokemon Legends game will both be on the Switch and the successor. Overall, quite satisfied with this showing, and personally cannot wait to play that new Zelda game, and of course Prime 4. As stated at the start, with this Direct airing, E3 season is now finally over. And on the Nintendo news side of things, we presumably won't be hearing from them again until sometime later this year, hopefully, to share details on the Switch successor. You know I'll be all over that when the time comes. But until then, I think that'll do it for this video. If you made it to the end, I thank you for watching. Your continued viewership and support is greatly appreciated. I hope you enjoyed this video and my other E3/gaming showcase videos. And as always, I'll see you next time.